Hello, today we will be talking about our divine blueprint, personal growth, divine signs like synchronicities, believing in a higher power, finding the answers within, and do aliens exist? Where to find them on Earth, right?
Yes, they are here.
Hello, welcome to Women's World Podcast. Irmina here today, and I am having a special guest, Axelle Aerts, right?
Axelle Aerts.
Yes,
right.
okay. I got clicked on your profile on Instagram. I saw that she's also very spiritual,
Yes.
which I'm also spiritual, as you know. And she also has her own podcast, which is
Clandestine.
Clandestine, okay.
Yeah. I have two.
All right. And she's a mystical and personal trainer. So, can you explain a little bit about that, about yourself, and what do you do exactly, and what you talk about in your podcast?
Yes, of course. First, thank you for having me. It's very
Welcome.
nice
Welcome.
to meet you as well.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, what do I do? I started when I was. We have to go back to when I was little. I will explain a little bit. So when I was very little, I had a few encounters, a lot actually, but with darker entities. And that's when the whole journey began, because I didn't know what was happening, but I did know it was on a spiritual level. So even though I was 6 years old, I didn't think I was going crazy. I was just familiar with it on another level. And I experienced it throughout my whole childhood. And when I was in my teenage years, it had sort of a boost, so it was more of it. And I ignored it. It went away, and then I built my life, and I became a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. And I became interested and kind of obsessed with sculpting the female body and really helping people getting in shape, but from the view that anything is possible. And you will know that also.
Yeah, we both actually competed in the same competitions.
Yeah, indeed. And I think we have the same view on that genetics is not everything. You can really sculpt, and it's hard work, it's dedication, you just have to love it, you have to want it, and when waar een wil is een weg, they say in Dutch. So that's what I did, and I became personal trainer. I started my own business, and it called The Lifting Lioness. That's how I started. I had my own Instagram page, I had my own supplements, I had my own clothing line. It was very big. I went all the way. I had bought a house with my partner, and my partner was also really big into fitness. So we kind of started the whole thing together. And when we bought the house, I was at this point in my life when I thought, now I got it all. Mm-hmm. And it's like the universe just threw some lightning at me and said, no, this is not the life you want. It was very superficial a little bit, because it was all about the beauty. It was all about the looks. It was all about the material. And then the voices came back from when I was little. And I really had this sort of epiphany also, but also a lot of questions like, what is going on with me? What do I have to do? How do I stop this? Mm-hmm. And it was also related to a guy from when I was very, very little, when I fell in love with him. Mm-hmm. And we had this beautiful relationship, and it was also related to that connection, soul connection. So there was so much going on, and then I decided to go do ayahuasca to really understand where this was coming from. And I really thought I would gain all the answers, but actually it didn't. It just gave me more questions.
But I'm sorry to interrupt. Maybe, as I know from experience, from my ayahuasca experience, that it's lasting for 6 months.
Yeah.
But it's not coming to you the same day.
No.
It could be like you're growing into it, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, wait, I can set boundaries. Oh, wait, I can do this.
Yes.
And oh, I know what I want. So I think that it's coming a little bit later.
It is true. It lasts a long time, but I kind of expected answers immediately.
Okay.
And it didn't. I had some few insights, but it really lasts long. Even now, when I look back, I can see, that's why I had that vision.
Yeah, voila.
So it takes a lot of time, but then
The process,
I opened up some kind of energy field, and the reason I went to the ayahuasca was mainly to ask why there was so much darkness, the entities, why it was always around me. And it was a bit dangerous what I did there, but in the midst of ayahuasca, I asked, can the darkness please come and get me? Because I really need to know what it is that is hunting me all these years. And I asked for it and I got it. So I really had entities with me for like 6 months. Very extreme, kind of like obsessed.
Okay. So you felt like
it was
depressed, bad?
possession actually, kind of. And I had all these voices and I didn't know what to do with it, and it felt like I was going crazy. But I had the support of my father and my mother, because my father is also very spiritual, so he believed that there was something going on another level, and that I didn't need to see a doctor or something like that. Okay. So I had that support behind me. And then I went very deep into past lives, down a rabbit hole, into that soul connection. I lost my relationship with the guy I had the company with, and I moved and I went to live alone on my own, and it was a very dark period. So all of 2019 and 2020 was very dark for me. I really had to dig deep to find all the answers. Right. But what happened in between, I got rid of all the darkness, step by step, very slowly. But when that went away, I also had more light coming in. So I experienced my gifts. Mm-hmm. And it was through channeling, through just knowing things, through really like laying in bed and being pulled out of my body, going to another dimension and then coming back. So it was very extreme. By meditating
or just...
By meditating, but actually I was just asking a question and I was gone. The things I experienced, it was crazy. It was really like I had these beings around me that were trying to explain me things. And
how was exactly your way out from the dark period? And because I'm also very much about the growth, and I see you too talking about it.
I did do a lot of really the inner child work. It's very important.
Very important
because
indeed.
You can be depressed, mm-hmm. You can be sick, you can have a very dark spiritual experience like I had, but it all comes down to the same thing, that you need to look into why it is happening, because it's a gift in the end, always. So it's inner child work, it's going back mm-hmm. to the family roots and seeing what patterns you are, just reliving again and again and again. And when I had everything in the loft with my partner in the business, it was not the path I chose as a soul to go down. So it was a reminder for me, so hey, you're not doing this. You're going to get to know the darkness, the spiritual, and you're going to help a lot of people who have experiences and they cannot go to a doctor because there is not the answer.
There is no medicine for it.
Yeah. So until this day, I believe it happened to me because I can now tap into other dimensions and sources that can explain why something is going on, rather than going to the doctor. And it doesn't just, it's not that the doctor is not good. It's just that the doctor does not have all the answers. And we need another doctor. We need someone who is able to tap into those dimensions. Mm-hmm. And there's so many people waking up nowadays, and there's so many other people doing some of what I do in energy work and energy healing. And I think there is a dangerous level to it also, because suddenly in this age, everyone can do it. And you can do some Kundalini work, and there you can go and let somebody pull some strings energetically. And I think it's also dangerous that everyone, it's like
playing with energy.
How do you say it? Een rage. It becomes so popular that everybody just wants to do it, but nobody knows exactly what they are doing and what they are inviting into their aura and their space. Mm-hmm. And it takes some discernment. It also takes a little bit of inner work to really feel, do I really have to go to that Kundalini workshop? Or is it just my ego, and is there nothing for me? Mm-hmm. Because we're all so curious and we want the answers, but maybe the answers are not outside. They're never outside. They're also always inside. Mm-hmm. So you have to really just sit in silence, meditate, and ask yourself, do I really need to be there? Do I really need to go there?
Indeed.
And I think that's a summary. And that's when the gifts started coming up, I heard my guide say, now you have to go and help other people. So I did.
Okay, so tell us how you started it. Because you also didn't know, you have to start from zero.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I think it was, I remember the day that I woke up and they said, today you're going to move. So you can look now for an apartment. And I was like, how? I'm just here for 9 months in this new apartment and I already have to move again? And they said, yes, because you're going to need a bigger space, because you're going to be doing the personal training and the light work, the energetic work. And I said, I don't know how to do energetic work. And they said, yes, you will. When the first client comes in, you will know exactly what to do. So I trusted what I was hearing.
So day by day, you're referring to your guides.
Yeah. And you have your own,
I know.
He has his own, and we all have our own.
I have a woman and a man, I know that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, nice. So yeah, that's how it started. And I just did what they were saying. I had another apartment. It was a loft, also a very big one. And I did half of the living was a gym, and half of it was a living, a woonkamer. And there I invited all the clients. And then it went like they said. They came in and I knew exactly what to do. But the first time I was shivering and it was, how do I know
Scary.
what to say? It was crazy. But still I managed to do something very good. And I pulled out stuff from the aura of that person. And I thought, wow, I can do this. And it was so natural. I knew it. And then every person that came in after that, I was gaining more and more confidence. And that's what I always say, if you want to get good at something, you really have to just go for it, do it. And it's with everything. It's not
by doing it, by practicing, you will get better.
Yeah. And you will, the more you believe in yourself, the stronger you become. Also, it's not, it's both ways actually. It's by doing, but by believing as well.
Exactly.
And it's the combination.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's the same like with dancing. You know, I can see an example. A lot of people are shy to take the step and start because they think you need to be a pro or like an expert to do it. But you only learn by doing. You only learn and become better by doing it and by practicing. You like even. I'm not also like a pro when sometimes I go to like famous choreographer. I think like I'm surrounded by everyone better than me at that point. But this is the growth process.
Yeah.
This is where you are growing. And indeed, you probably also just started and was thinking, okay, there are so many, I don't know how you call magicians, or spiritual guys, spiritual guides and spiritual coaches teachers and certified and that. And then the doubt kicks in.
But that was also, I guess, one of the pitfalls that my brain went in, because it's like, how can I do this if I've never been taught by a person and I don't have a certificate on my wall? But even when people come to me, I sometimes have to say, just start, you don't need to have that thing on the wall. If it's your passion and if you just live for it, you will be good at it and you will do it with a good intention. Yeah. I think that is the most profound thing for everyone who loves doing their job. Just love it and be good at it and go for it and don't doubt yourself.
Yeah, I can exactly relate with the meditations. I just started.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, maybe I should get a certificate just
I would say no.
Yeah, but then I got a job request to work in Italy in a retreat center, and they would like to have a certificate because it's something so just official. But even though I do it here for hundreds of people and they love it, I still should have something on a paper. But it's just for
you
for
can
jobs
do something
like that.
small, maybe.
Yeah. But for the rest, indeed, the moment you do it and the moment you just go for it and practice every day, it will come.
It's true. I understand it's hard in a society because, you cannot just go to a doctor who just says he knows stuff.
Yeah, but that's different.
I understand.
Yeah, that's a different type of profession,
Yes, of course.
I think so too. Yeah. All right. I saw you also mentioning, I will mention few quotes of you as well. Don't be a victim.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I like that.
It's also one that's really a theme in my life at the moment. And it can be quite harsh if you tell someone, do not be a victim.
But that's because people don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. But I do have to have some kind of respect towards it. Like, I know it's hard to hear it, but you cannot be a victim of anything that happened to you. Even the worst of the worst, there is some gift in it. And I think if you can look at it that way, you can only become stronger.
Yeah.
But if you are like, yes, I'm this way because of this and this and this, yeah, then you can just
Excusing yourself.
yes, and then life will be very awful and
Yeah.
difficult. And
I think, I mean, like, especially when you're doing the inner child work and stuff, I've seen women and myself as well, where we discover certain things, you know, like, for instance, why am I so cold to someone is because of my childhood trauma or something. So yes, it can be explained by it, but it doesn't mean you have to like motto that for every day and be like, oh, I am just like this and I don't change because of my childhood. That is like the opposite of growth.
yeah,
Then you just want to get stuck
yeah,
and just live in your trauma and never change, actually.
exactly. I think, yeah, but there are people who choose to do it that way.
Yeah.
And I think,
Yeah,
okay,
and that's victimhood.
That's victimhood, but it's also their experience. It's
Yeah.
not, I don't have anything to do with it. If that's how you want to live, I respect how you want to live. It's the same with religion or anything else. You just have to respect what the people choose. But if they come to me for and ask for guidance, I will put my all and everything in it to make sure that you're walking the path that your soul has incarnated on.
Mm-hmm. You believe in reincarnation?
Yes, of course.
I'm very interested into that. We've been having discussions with my boyfriend for a very long time about this, and we keep still talking. Like, we want to know actually what's the afterlife. What do you think about that?
What it's like.
What it's like, yeah.
We could talk hours about that, but there's so many details if you really want to go into it. But it's actually just we are angelic beings. That's what it comes down to. That's you ask about the podcast. I have 2 podcasts. I have one with my best friend, and we have the School of Witches, clandestine. And it's about just women going back inside, going back to nature, going back to the connection with their guides and to what we originally are. Mm-hmm. And then you have my own podcast. It's called Licht aan, Lights On. It's about, talking about everything and then going back to how we were made, how God created us, and what's the point of humanity, and how did we get so distorted? What happened there that influences our planet Earth? And that's what I want to tell now. So we are angelic beings. We are the 10th hierarchy of angels. And we incarnated, and we were made in the image of God, exactly, but we were made to incarnate and to relive what it's like to be 3D, to be material. Because there we are just ether, energy, it's not living thing. Yeah, it's a living thing, but it's not touchable.
Mm-hmm. It's more like frequency.
Yeah, and there's no smell, and there's no touch, and there's no, because it's all integrated. It's like this ball of light, and we are all coming from that source. And when light does this and it spreads itself, then you can talk about God like the ocean, and when you have a river, it's spirit guides, and when you take a glass of the river, you have a human being, the soul. So it's just like the Russian dolls. It fits.
Matryoshkas.
Yeah, it fits in each other. It's exactly the same. And when God created us, there was one party, and I don't talk about one being, but a lot of beings that conspired together to have the same amount of power as God. And that's when the war of the angels began. And they refer to it as God and Lucifer, God, Satan, but it's more complex than that. It's very difficult to explain the whole thing. But that's what I do in Licht aan, in the podcast, because I think, as I was explained when I started the podcast, it's our birthright to know what we are, what we come to do, and how we should live our lives, actually. So that's why I started it. And then, yes, there's the thing of incarnation. We incarnate to have an experience, and then we have to do it again, but through the eyes of another person. So we teach each other love. We teach about acceptance, about freedom, about victimhood. We all get to experience it. And every life we can choose, are we going to do the same as the previous life, or are we going to do a
like
whole
learning lessons,
different story?
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about it is I will put a number on it. I don't think it's not that number, but let's say you have 10 people around you. It's like the mother, father, the partner you have, your children, and maybe an aunt or a best friend. In 9 of the 10 cases, you will incarnate with those again in the next lifetime, and you will just change roles. So for my daughter Lucia, I know her. I really know her from another lifetime. I felt it when she was coming out of me, and I experience it every day. When I see her, I feel I know you. I've been through so much with you already. So I think it's beautiful. Who knows? Maybe I have been her child.
Yeah, it's like the feeling when you meet someone and you think you know them all your life. I have the same with my best friend, Evie. And our Reiki woman, she told that we've been in the same group already before. That
Of
we've
course,
been
yeah.
friends already. So that's like
Yeah.
right away a click.
But what most people don't understand is when you meet someone and there is a chemistry, and let's say there's really like a fire thing going on, a pull. The chemistry is energy, and it's there to bring you together. It actually has nothing to do with sex. It has everything to do with trauma. So when two people meet, the memories are there, the trauma is there of everything you've experienced, and you ignite each other's souls. It's like a recognition, and then you want to be together. But you want to be together because it is designed that you are together to be mirrors for each other. So it's not like, oh, it's a fairy tale and we have to stay together forever and it's a love thing. No, it's really like, what can we learn from each other? And it's by, on a human level, being so sexually, most of the time, attracted to someone that you have the chance to be together. So it's more, when there's a lot of push and pull, there's a lot of trauma.
Okay.
And you get the chance to just have another experience. That's how I...
Interesting point of view. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Yeah, so we covered the don't be a victim. Very nice. Another quote of you, every person is equal.
Yeah, that's an issue.
You made a reel about it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because the reel, the part you saw was a snippet of the podcast.
Okay.
And there I was channeling what it means, the word hierarchy. And hierarchy, when the angels talk about it, it's you have... Everyone has a job to do, everyone has a task, everyone has a meaning, but there's no job or task or meaning that is above the other. So you can, we do this, and you guys do that, and another group does this, but we need each other because we create a system. And if one of us falls away, the system is disrupted. So we are all equal, and we are all equally important. And I thought it was beautiful because I felt it. I really felt what they were trying to tell me, and it was so beautiful. But even in words, you cannot explain what I felt when I was channeling it. It's pure love.
Yeah, yeah.
So here on Earth, we don't do it at all. We distance ourselves from everyone who has another opinion also. Then we have race, color, skin, gender. But actually, we are all one and the same. And when you trace us back, like the Matryoshka dolls, then we are one puppet. And that's what I meant by equal. And it also, I'm learning this year in 2024 to co-create with people and also with women. Because from my childhood, I was also like, we have to go. I got to work. I got to provide for myself. I have to do it all alone. But actually what I'm learning is that you can do more if you co-create and if you are able to accept that another woman can be on the same level as you, because women also have a lot of competition and that needs to be wiped off the planet and we can uplift each other.
But I think with men too, huh?
Also, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
But
in general, in between people.
But men are more like buddies and let's do this together, and it's another energy.
Yeah.
The competition is more with women.
They can be snakes.
Yeah.
Can be snakes,
and that really.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring harmony between women too with the workshops.
Yeah, but it's beautiful what you do.
Thank you.
And that's your mission, and it's beautiful. And you can, maybe you're in a stage of your life now that you think, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I feel it and I love it, but I can say with like 100% that in 5 years, you're making this bigger, or you're doing something different and you go into another route. And there's the mission. And you thought this was the mission, but this was only a stepping stone.
This is leading to something bigger.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. You know, it's a crazy thing, actually, something something like, even my boyfriend is not so spiritual, but once I told him, he was like, what? Let me check it out. And it was the reality. Wait, I'm gonna tell you the story. So my Reiki woman that is healing me,
Yeah.
she discovered, she said my bloodline is from Egyptian feline. And
Yeah.
I was like, what is
Oh,
feline?
feline.
Feline.
The cat
And I didn't
people.
yeah, I didn't know what it was. So I checked it up, and
Yeah.
there was a YouTube video about it. And if you have seen like the panther head with the human body, that's
Yeah.
from the Egyptian mythology. And she is actually a woman protector.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And I was like, what
beautiful.
a coincidence. I mean, coincidence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing is a
And he was
coincidence.
like, seriously, like checking it up. Indeed, it's like, I mean, like, how can it be even coincidence?
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
go down the rabbit hole, you start digging, you
Yeah,
find
yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Yeah, exactly. Coming back, by the way, to the reincarnation. In ayahuasca, of course, we all took DMT to, first experience death. And I saw the lights. And I think that's what you also saw, probably, right? A lot of people did that.
I saw both. I saw
Yeah.
very dark and I saw very
Oh,
light.
okay. So when you go, and when you go towards the light, you feel so at peace, but like you're not afraid to die anymore at all.
No, it's
Like
true.
I don't want to leave the world behind, but I wouldn't be afraid to go there.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
beautiful.
Yeah. And I saw another video on YouTube from a very old man, and he died. He drowned in a lake, but he survived. And he survived, and he was telling the after death experience. And it was exactly the same. He said, there is, like you saying, the
Yeah.
light. And it's like, yeah, everything is connected. We are there. And once you are there, you know your mission, you know why, and there is no negativity whatsoever. There is no more jealousy. There is no more
Yeah.
competition. There is no racism, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Everyone is one.
That's the thing we're
Yeah.
all searching for here on
Voila,
Earth.
voila.
Yeah. No,
So
it's beautiful.
yeah, I see that more and more people are opening up about it, and see actually that there is more.
Yeah, my father, for instance, I told you he's spiritual, but what I meant by that is when I was very little, I don't know what age I was, but he had a car accident. He was, it was something with the red light, and two guys were racing, and they went through the red light, and my dad could go
Oh yeah.
further. It was green, and yeah, it was a very big thing, and he got into the hospital and they could not save him, so he was dead for 10 minutes, and they told my mother, your husband is gone. And in the 10 minutes that he was dead, he saw the light and he went towards it, and he also explained it as, I wanted to be there. It was pulling me in, and I just want to be there, and it was peaceful.
Very peaceful,
But
yeah.
the beautiful thing is that he saw all of his friends that had died before him.
Okay.
And they were telling him, no, Danny, you need to
It's
go
not the
back.
time yet.
And he was like, no. And then he turned around and he came back into his body. And then the doctors came to my mom and they said, your husband, he's back. And
He's
every
back.
time he tells,
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's
I'm
back.
back.
I am back. The Terminator.
yeah, exactly. But it's crazy because every time he tells a story, I know in my heart that he went and came back for me to really help me have my experience
raise
with
you.
him. And
Yeah.
it's because of the trauma he needed to inflict, but also the beautiful support he gave me being a singer and going through my darkness at the time. So it's also the good and the bad. He needed to give me some trauma for me to grow up and be me today, but he also needed to be my biggest support and my biggest fan as a singer. And it's beautiful because it's both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So we really need to be in each other's life.
Okay.
So it was not in the stars that he had to die when I was so little. It was just for him to experience himself. And when he came out of it, he also had the gift. So he started channeling a little bit, and also with the pendulum. And he didn't do a lot with it. He did not make a business out of it, but he helped some people along the way.
Okay.
So it's beautiful either
Yeah.
way you use it.
And I saw you have a child as well, and a husband. Yeah.
Yes.
You married?
Yeah, we're not married. No,
Okay.
no, we're
Your,
living together.
Boyfriend. Yes. How does he react to it? He supports you.
He supports me, but he doesn't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, for men, let's not forget, their testosterone is higher,
Yeah, that's true.
their ego is higher, and they can't lose control.
He just lets me be me.
Okay.
And I spend a lot of time there, but I really feel like he came into my life to be my anchor, my rock, my just to have me be here and experience life here, because my work is a lot of the times just always in other dimensions and energies. But we were only 8 weeks together when I was pregnant. So it was,
Oh, so you were pregnant not from him?
yeah, well, but we were only 8 weeks together
Oh, yeah,
and I
yeah.
was
Oh,
pregnant.
you were already pregnant from him?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was that soon. And I knew him for, I guess, 9 months or so. But it was just through mutual friends. And then we started dating. And in the 8 weeks of dating, I got pregnant. So it was a very difficult time for us because I spiritually wanted to keep the baby for reasons that she needed to be here and she was going to transform us. And we really came to a point in our life that we really needed to be parents. It was our time. But he, because he didn't believe in any of it, was like, are you really going to let some angels decide? And I said, yes, because it's going to be very good for both of us. Even if you don't want to be in the relationship with me, we really need to become parents. And that was a hard decision because I knew when I decided that I was going to do it alone. So he said, I don't want anything to do with it. But with time and some thinking on his part, he said, okay, let's go for it. But he really, we were
time.
separated also for 2 months or so. So I experienced the first 3 months as being a single mom. So I really had to have the future in mind, but being single and being okay on my own. Even though I felt like I knew he was going to come back, it's still hard because you have the human experience of just he says no, and that's the reality. But no, there's more to it. Now we're doing this already for 3 years, and it's very hard because we are he's really the opposite of me. So it's a whole other level of relationship. We really need to always come to the middle and find a middle ground. But it's a very beautiful love because it's sort of unconditional in that way that I can be me and he can be him.
Yeah.
But it takes work, really. And when he came into my life, I experienced so much childhood trauma also coming back inside of me. And it was like he gave me the opportunity to look at those things because I was always ignoring it in other relationships. And by his way of being and his personality, he just showed me that there were unhealed parts inside of me. So I have the chance now to work on it.
Okay.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also indeed something very nice to find the middle ground. With us is the same because he also was not spiritual at all before, and now I see him being more open to understand that, to try to understand. And it took us a very long time to get to there, but of course he will never be in the same level as I am, and I will never be on the same level as he is in his world, because he has his own world and I have my own world. But just trying to understand each other because we love each other.
Yeah.
Understand each other's world. Yeah, and like you said, stand in someone else's shoes and just try to see from their eyes. Because we're no one to judge and say this is not true or this is not correct. It's because you don't want to understand it. It doesn't mean that it's not true.
Yeah, that's true. But it's very difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
And mostly
because people think they have their own way of thinking and judgmental way of thinking very fast.
But also because it's my job. And when I come home, I want to talk about what I saw or felt, and it's so we have a boundary there. I can talk a little bit, but not too much.
Yes, I know. Yes,
but still, it's
too much spiritual shit is not good for men.
No, but also too much of being in the ego is also not good.
It's so also indeed
it's best of both worlds. Actually,
yeah. With me, he also knows with the guys you can be all macho and big guy, but here at home you are you.
I need your feminine energy.
Yeah, just like more vulnerable and be
Yeah.
more understanding, be more supportive, indeed, and then you find the middle ground. I think that's beautiful about relationships.
In relationships, it's also the women who takes lead in becoming more vulnerable. I see that the women always choose to do the inner work and go within and to level up, and then the man follows.
We are more likely to go and confront, initiators, to confront ourselves about the traumas and everything. And a lot of men, most of the time, don't want to confront it, and they don't want to go deeper into childhood and see what's wrong with them. It took a while, but like, Jonas, he's also always open to talk deep about these things. Yeah. It's not the most favorite topic, but I see on him when something is going on between him and his family, and then I know it's not just a situation. It's because something is deeper, something is there, and then I talk about it and I say, how was it when you were younger, and how was this, and your relationship with mom and dad, and this and that, and then you see, okay, there are much more issues, actually, deeper problems than just that situation that made you angry. Yeah, and he sees like, oh, damn, you're good. Like,
you're the psychologist.
Yeah, oh my God. Sometimes I feel like a therapist. Sometimes I'm really like, dude, you have to start paying me for this.
We talk 2 hours.
Yeah. Sometimes there's like 2 hours and I'm like talking and he's like, wow. Like, okay.
Too much to process.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You're right. And that's often the answer. You're right. You're right. I like to be right.
It's not that much of the question, what is wrong with me? I guess it's more like, how can I become a better person?
Yeah, but there is always something wrong with everyone. I mean, everyone is crazy a little bit and everyone is weird, and it's normal. It's the normal. You have to be different. You don't need to be like everyone else.
But I think it scares some people if you...
Being weird?
Using the frame, you have to do that and do inner work to find out what's wrong with you. I think people are afraid of what's wrong with them. So that's why I wanted to rephrase and say, no, you do the therapy and you do the inner work to become a better person.
Exactly.
Then you have the line to not be a victim of childhood, of trauma, of whatever. But yes, it's a beautiful...
Yeah, and I also personally don't think that men have to per se go into like all those things, like, because I know a lot of guys also like are anti-ayahuasca or something, just because they don't see the point of confronting themselves with everything that has been wrong with them. Yeah. And they'd rather just stay strong, because that's what a man does. Yeah. And that's what a man should do, stay strong and masculine. Yeah. And for us, it's easier in a way because we are females, that we can just, all right, let's go deeper. Yeah. Let's cry about it. Yeah. Let's let it go. Let's release all the blockages. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, she's a woman. She can cry. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yes, exactly.
We need the balance, huh?
Yeah, we need the balance. So as well, you believe so in divine and all of those things, and you believe in universe and in synchronized numbers, right? Yes. Yeah, I've seen your picture on your Spotify album of your
1111
song. Yeah, and I'm like really big believer of that, because I get signs every time, all the time. So from the moment I open my eyes, and it doesn't have to be even the clock.
No, it's everywhere.
Voila.
You can see it everywhere.
Exactly.
You just need, you don't even have to look for it. You have to be open.
Open for it. Exactly.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, I've seen the video on a YouTube. It's 2-hour video, actually. So I took my time for it, because I'm really crazy about these things. Yeah. And I took my time for it, and it was a scientist talking to a Dharma coach. Yeah. Dharma coach. So science says that it's all real. Yeah. And
it's frequency.
Yeah. Universe is you in reverse, but it's you inside. So you're talking to yourself. For instance, when your gut feeling says, you're like, okay, should I take this job? And then something in you says, yeah, okay, that would be smart, but do you really want to take that job? And then you do the mistake of taking the job. And all over the signs are coming, like 111 or like 222 or 2332, and like, or like stupid GPS time arrival, or like at the casa I'm paying something 1111 111 euros 11 cents, and I'm like, okay,
I get it now.
got it. Yeah, and like you're thinking of a thought, and all of a sudden you look somewhere and it's the sign is there.
Yeah.
Then you can just look it up.
Yeah.
How is it? How do you see it, and how is your experience with it?
Yeah, I also love that you pointed out the scientific part of it, because we're all made out of sound. That's how we were made in the beginning. Sound is vibration, feeling its frequency, and that's all it is. So when your whole body DNA, because of a thought, goes to a frequency, then the outer frequency has to match it before you see it. So that's why I say you have to be open to it on a frequency level to experience it. I think there are a lot of people who don't ever see 11 or 222.
Yeah, there are people like that, for sure.
But when it comes into your life, it's also to really guide you along the way. So every number, it's always from 1 to 10, but every number has a specific message.
Yeah.
So 1 is mostly about new beginnings. 2 is very financial. So it could be about your job, or it could be about a security, loan, all that stuff. 3 is more about your guides saying you need to be more creative, and really like the topic of creativity, and also working with other people. So it's colleagues and friendships, but it's also that they are there to guide you. So it's more like we trust you, we have you. And then 4 is about moving.
Leadership, ownership,
indeed.
growth.
And 4 is then moving. So it's buying a house, or just you're in the midst of a moving phase in your life, or you're going through childhood trauma, because 4 is the youth, child's youth. And then 5 is drastic change. So if you see lots of 5s, it's like you really need to do it differently, another approach. It's a tower moment. 6 is about projects. So it's very finance driven, projects, money, abundance. Yeah, it's like that. 7 is harmony. Let's look inside, peace, go more into nature, blah, 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 blah. And then 8 is another level of 6. Is really, it's like a prosperity. And it also has to do with power. So whatever you're thinking, if you see 8, it's like, okay, how can I...
Wealth as well.
Wealth, power, control, those are the topics. And then 9 is, you're almost there. It's like the light is at the end of the tunnel, you're approaching 10, so we're close to finishing a chapter. And then 10 is actually, again, 1, and it's a new beginning. So that's how you can a little bit decode everything you're seeing, because a lot of people see 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. But if there's one number that really stands out and you see it everywhere, and for me it was 3 and 4 for the last couple of months, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Then you know, okay, these are the topics. And for me, it was my creativity, my singing, and at home, being with my partner and the family. So it was spot on.
All right. And what would you say, like, for people who don't believe this, they, well, for example, my boyfriend was saying, like, it's a red flag syndrome. You know, red flag syndrome, what it is? It's like when once you see red car, you see them everywhere.
Of course.
Or I want to buy a house. Now you start seeing that everywhere, and he's like, yeah, maybe you just notice the number constantly.
Yeah, but it's what he's saying actually is the same as the frequency stuff. If what you're attuned to, you will get into your environment and in your reality, but it doesn't mean that you seeing the numbers is you creating it. It's just you being open to it. If I say I want to count all the red cars, then I'm open to seeing more red cars. They were always there.
Yeah, they were always there.
I'm just seeing them now
you notice
more.
Yeah,
it's noticing. It's being open to it. So he explains it. Yeah, it's true, but he makes it a little bit more negative, because then he closes off the possibility that angels are sending you guidance.
Being open for it.
Yeah.
So you notice what you're looking for, like what you're trying to attract or manifesting or whatever.
Yeah. And that's the same with our patterns and our trauma. If we're becoming a victim of it. We say, okay, this is the only thing I can. This is the only thing I'm allowed to. This is the only thing. And then that's also the only thing you will see and notice. It's all the same. Yeah.
All right, nice. So let's go with the last part. I heard you mentioning about the witch craft or what's...
Yeah, the school of witches.
School of witches. Well, what is it about actually? Like, it sounds scary, but
It's not.
I know, but
It's like Zwijnstein. What's it? Zwijnstein from Harry Potter, from the movie.
Okay.
It's like a school where you just learn how to use magic properly, and in a way that is pure and rein, and it's like just using the light and not the dark. Because if you work with energy, it can very soon become black. So you have magic, and if your intention is pure, it is white. But if there's a lot of ego mixed in it, it becomes already a little bit black or dark. And then you have the people who are using magic and energy work in practices, but they're not healed inside, and they're doing it for egoistic or financial reasons. Then it's
like
already black magic.
Voodoo stuff.
Yeah, voodoo is very dark, because that's, I want to harm you, I want to hurt you
bad
through
intentions
magic.
to people. But like what you do, the witch school, is just to learn to use your powers as a woman, and
It's
as connected
intuitive.
to nature and
Nature, intuitive skills, gut feeling, if you want to call it that way, but also opening the third eye, just to have a clear channel for information. That's all. And when we have, most of the time, we have a group of 30 women, and it's beautiful how each and every one of them have their unique gifts. And the one can see more and is very visual, and the other one will feel more, or the other one will hear. So every person really has another ability, and we search for the abilities. So we're just helping you in 6 months, trying to find your gifts. And not because you have to open a business and start healing people, but because when you're at the crossroad, you can just go, hey, let me know what I need to do. What's the best for me? And that's all, actually. So they can trust their intuition, they can trust their womanness also, because you've probably heard about the witch wound. We all have that inside of us, and it goes back to the Salem trials when the witches were burned.
Okay,
And all of us in reincarnations, we have already been through some kind of abomination, or you are working for the devil, or you need to be stoned, or you have an affair with a husband and you, weet ik veel. It's how do you say it? It's vernederen, humiliation also. But that's the witch wound. It's, I have gifts and I can see and I can feel, but I cannot use it. Because in the lifetime that you were shamed for it, it put an imprint on your soul. So when you have a lifetime where you find your abilities again, then it can be scary to come out for it. It's like coming out of the closet for your magic. And that's why we also help those women who find their power to come out for it and say, hey, I have my own connection to God. Even if you say you have a connection to God, people already are frightened because it's weird, because the word God has so many assumptions and views about it, perceptions. So that's also what we want to help, get rid of.
Okay, let's go there. So do you believe in God?
Yes, otherwise I won't be doing the work. So God is everywhere. God is, but God
you're
is
religious, like God, Christian God, or
no.
You believe like God could be not per se Christian, or
God is everything. God is in the Bible, God is in the Quran, God is in Islam. The biggest misconception about God is that he punishes. He does not. He doesn't ever. But our holy books all say that we need to be a good and a perfect human being, and if we sin, we have to repent, and it never was that way. It was written and rewritten over and over again to control the masses and the political views, and it's all power. And it has nothing to do with love. Even in the Bible, some quotes are beautiful, but other times I'm like, God would never ever say this. And it's just how you were, how you were fed these stories.
I think at some point everyone is like believes in some sort of higher power. We don't always know what it is, but for sure when we are having a bad time, we pray.
Then we turn to
Yeah, and then we don't know who we're praying to, but we're praying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone who does this or this or this, it's all the same.
Yeah.
And the one person does this, but the intention is to talk to God. So it's the same source as the one who's doing this with his intention to talk to God, or this with it. It's all the same. And as long as we do not see that, we are going to stay distant and we are going to stay separated. Mm-hmm. So yes, I do believe, but I believe in the God behind all the stories, the one that created life, the one that made sure that our heart pumps every fucking second without even doing anything for it. So it's in our veins, it's in our blood, it's in our lungs, it's in the air, it's in the synchronicities, it's in the passion you have for your job, the love you have for your children.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful
And souls.
way.
Yeah.
Souls are actually the same as
like
reincarnation.
entities and
Yeah. So
energy.
we have a DNA code. We are made upon a word, a sound, a frequency, and that DNA code is a pentagram. And it's just the Jewish star, actually, and it's in the midst of our body.
Justice, love, truth. Yeah. It's like you have to repeat the words. So when you try to protect yourself, justice, love.
I don't know that.
I have it written down.
It's a little spell that you use.
Yeah, sort of to protect yourself. Yeah, truth, justice, love, wisdom, righteousness.
Yeah, but it's good. It's some kind of spell, I guess, but it's inside of us. It's our coding, and throughout the years, it has been tampered with. So with our genetics has been tempered, and then you come to the story of the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
And they have tampered with our DNA, but they did not create us. And that's the misconception about the Anunnaki. So if you look them up, if you do the YouTube search, you will always find that the Anunnaki created us. But they want to believe that they created us. So again, there's a sort of power. But what we need to know, and that's my mission in my podcast, is to help you remember that you are above the Anunnaki because you are light, love, and God. And Anunnaki are fallen beings. And they...
So wait, Anunnaki is the fallen beings.
The fallen beings, yeah. It's an alien entity, and it fell off the creation of God by turning against God. And that's why they became ungodliness, and they lost their angelicness, and they became ugly, and they became alien. And
so that's, in other words, aliens are Anunnaki.
No, Anunnaki is a very special group. You also have the Zetas, you also have the Greys. There are so many different aliens.
This is a world for me that I don't understand.
Yeah, you can go very deep in it.
But I'm pretty sure aliens exist. I mean, like, sure,
But actually,
I believe in that.
Alien is just a term for something otherworldly.
Yeah.
So angelic beings are also
unknown,
alien.
The unknown for us.
Yes. If you just take the alien out of it, then you only have light beings. And even the dark beings are light beings who have turned dark and reversed themselves. So their coding is reversed and they cannot be light anymore. So they have to prey on fear. And that's what politics does. Preys on fear, because there are still Anunnaki bloodlines in the government today, and they need to prey on fear. That's the only way they can control us.
Okay, wait, so...
It's a very big story. I can talk 5 hours about it.
So you want to say that there are aliens in politics? Because before that we also said that we are all equal.
Yeah, but we are equal.
Okay.
Yeah. If they were not there, Earth would not be what it is today. They play a very big part in actually just the recovering of our trauma and doing the inner work. So if Earth was only light, it wouldn't be Earth. You cannot experience light if you don't know darkness. You don't know darkness, you don't know light. So they have to be there. And at this time of the year, 2024, we are balancing stuff out. So you will notice when you look at the media, a lot of dirt is coming out. more pedophilia that's coming to the surface, more bad politics, now the war in Gaza. It's all something that is now coming up, but it has such a big meaning for behind it.
Okay.
It's all spiritual. So the war you see on television is a spiritual war between fallen beings and light beings. That's all. But because as a human you don't know that because they don't want you to know, you're just a human.
But do they know?
They know. On top, they know. They know.
Okay, so what about the thought that aliens are somewhere in a galaxy?
They're here.
You believe in that?
They're here. They're walking
because I mean, like, there are so many also proven facts that are like flying plates, and you know,
but
they have videos of.
But they're here also. It's not because you see. If you see them, they're here. But they're walking amongst us. But they're also out there. So we're not the only thing in the universe. We're so many. I've seen so many beings in 5 years. It's crazy. I've seen reptilian beings. I've seen demonic entities. I've seen greys, alien-like creatures, as you can see in the movies.
And do they live like on other planets, or?
They have other star galaxies, indeed, where they live, and they have their home base. That's what I like to call it. But like a lot of them are stuck on planet Earth because they cannot go to the light anymore. So they're stuck, and the ones who are stuck need us humans to believe we're just humans so we can be controlled by fear.
But does all aliens are bad?
No.
No.
No, because again, aliens is a concept for otherworldly beings. So you have good otherworldly beings and you have bad.
Okay.
And they are all in war with each other. But there's a big portion of light beings who are assisting Earth right now. And that's why at this point, from 2018 until now, I think you experienced it as well. There's a lot of people waking up. Like spiritually. And that's what's going on now. The masses are waking up. Everybody is seeing that there's so many corrupt things going on. So everything's coming to the surface. But if what I'm saying today would be on the news tomorrow, people would freak out. They would go crazy. They would not believe it. It's too much if it would be just in the face. So it's every year we know a little bit more, we know a little bit more. And
okay. All right. And you could go deeper and deeper into it, and it could
very deep. Because now I try to explain it to you in 10 minutes, but my podcast, every episode is 15 minutes, and it goes back to every detail. So how we were created, how the fallen beings...
And how do you know that?
Yeah, how do I know that? Because I went to the other dimensions, and I saw a big proportion of what is going on. So it was shown to me, but also through the clients that come to me. I get a lot of information through their lives. And I get help from there to get information from other channelers. And then I have to, I discern, this is not true, this is true. So they help me talk about it. If I come on a YouTube video and there's information from me that they want me to know, then they will say, you can only watch from minute 50 because there's truth. All the rest is not truth. And I just rely on it in my heart. That's the only thing I can do because I feel it is necessary for us humans to know what we are. It only comes down to this. We need to know who we are. We need to wake up and remember.
Okay. So if you're interested into these things and go deeper into it...
Go watch Licht aan.
Yeah. Voilà. Go watch Licht aan.
But it's in Dutch, huh?
Yeah, okay.
So it's so hard to explain even now. I'm trying to find words for it. So it's already hard in Dutch.
Yeah, all right.
But I love it. I have so big passion for it. And we're now up to episode 4. And there will be more and more to come.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thank you.
That's interesting also to see, and that you trust yourself and you know
it's very hard.
Yeah,
because I know
because people
this is
also
crazy
for
talking.
people, for people it's hard to understand. I mean, like, I didn't understand half of it.
But if you understand it, then you can it's aha moment. It's that's why
Like,
the earth is like this. Yeah.
All right. So it was a very interesting conversation.
Yes.
Very interesting. Yes. I'm happy to have you here. And if you feel like there is something you can relate to, or you can
Yeah.
maybe ask more help to Axelle, you can always contact her and check her out on Instagram, axelle.aerts.
Yes.
Yes. And you have another platform?
No, it's just
Spotify still?
Spotify, on Instagram, and also the website axelleaerts.be.
All right. Is there anything you could add for people motivational that they can hear today and just sum it up in like one sentence, two, three?
I would ask people to invite a higher power of love within them and to really look inside of yourself and not outwards. So there are tools and there's a lot of things that can help you, but the real answer, the real God, is always within you. And it's a loving God. And that's all people need to know.
The truth you believe in is the truth that is correct for you. Eh?
Yeah, that's true. So
there is nothing wrong with what you believe in.
There's nothing wrong with what you believe in.
Okay, was nice. Thank you. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you in the next episode, and please subscribe and follow me.